Thanks, Tim. And boy, how impressive has he been. And it's been a privilege to get to know him over the course of the last couple of weeks and just to hear some of his visions and thoughts of moving this thing forward. I know has our whole entire conference energized and excited about the possibilities that are out there. And so I want to start off this press conference, and for us as a program, UNT, we'd like to send our condolence to the Haynes family. If you guys didn't know, Abner Haynes, who was a trailblazer at UNT, not only on the field but off the field, recently passed away. And I think it would be remiss if we didn't mention the great significance he had, not only at North Texas as a football player, but also off the field. He was an incredible all-conference, all-American player, got drafted both by the NFL and AFL, ended up going and playing for the Kansas City Chiefs, where he was the first player ever to receive the Offensive Player of the Year in the conference and also the Rookie of the Year, and is now in their Hall of Fame. But what people don't really realize is he was the first person that broke the racial barrier in Texas power football, in major college football. And so just thinking about the sacrifices that he made for our kids today, and to see how the game has grown since 1956 when him and Dr. Leon Hayes were there and able to be the first guys, Dr. Leon King, were able to be the first men of color to play this great sport, and we've seen it progress. And so just want to send, our thoughts and prayers as a program, as a university, to the Haynes family. Now we'll move on a little bit to our football program, and I think year two is a little bit different for us this year, and I think if you look at our media notes, and the first thing that you see on there is that we have 73 new football players in our program right now. And I think that would make most people nervous, most head coaches nervous, but it's quite the opposite. I think year two in this conference, I think we have a good gauge on kind of where we're at as a football program, and then we were really able to go back and self-scout ourselves and reflect on what we did well last year and what our deficiencies were. And I think first and foremost, when we got into kind of our four-game gauntlet of playing Tulane and SMU and UTSA and Memphis all consecutively, the one thing that I could point out each and every week was that we were smaller than them. We didn't have as much length, and especially up front, I could tell there's a major size difference. And it was something that we wanted to invest in and really go out and try to get bigger at the line of scrimmage and also on the back end with the style of defense that we play. We thought that our safety positions were put in some vulnerable positions last year and able to fit the run and ask them to do certain things. So I think we're going to have a really good mix of young guys. Last year, I've made no secret about it. We're going to continue to invest in Texas high school football players. We've signed over 25 high school kids the past 2 years. So there's, I think there's 57 kids that'll be true freshmen, redshirt freshmen, or true sophomores on our team next year. And then we were able to sprinkle in 35 transfers in that mix. And the one thing that we really tried to invest in was snaps gained at a different school. And really, the more that I've gotten into it, I think snaps gained is something that's so vital to finding kids that come in and are ready to play. And I don't care if they played snaps at a Division II program, at an FCS program, or at an FBS program. And I think we were able to do that. And the more we've done it, one of our best defensive players last year was Mason, and he came to this and represented us well, but he came from a Division II program. We signed 2 of them this year that had all kinds of accolades, playing, over 1,000 snaps played, a tight end and Oscar Hammonds, and then a safety and Jaden Hill that have been phenomenal for us and will be day one starters for us. And so that's one thing we've really tried to find is guys that have played meaningful snaps wherever they've been. And I think, football starts and ends this day with the quarterback position. And we were able to add Chandler Morris, who has came in and been so impressed with his leadership skills right off the bat. And I think you see the maturity in Chandler. And Chandler will be the first one to tell you, he's tough as nails. He loves football. He loves being around our guys. He's always sending messages of what we're doing good, what we could do better. And to have a guy like Chandler to come in and take the reins over for us, that's won the job twice at TCU. Obviously, we need to keep Chandler upright and healthy this year, but he's proven to be a great player. His father was a great coach, and he's been around football his whole life. So really excited about where Chandler will take us. You look at the two guys that I brought today. I'm going to start with Ridge Tejada, who's a guy that's been a mainstay for us since I've been here. He's a cornerback. He's small in size, but he's gritty and tough as anybody on our team, and he stepped down from no challenge. So one thing, about Ridge is that Ridge has a great family, and his parents are always there to support him. They travel to every one of his games. Both of his brothers play big-time college football, and so really excited to see what Ridge can do, and he's one of the leaders on our defense, so excited about him. And then on the offensive side of the ball, we're able to bring Damon Ward, who's a receiver who, quite frankly, he's battled some injuries. He had some different opportunities to pursue some things after the year this year, but he wanted to stay committed to this team, what he started at North Texas, and be able to produce at a high level. He's really worked hard in the offseason of changing his body, and I think he's positioned himself now to be a number one receiver for us and put up some great stats and help us. And the one attribute that I love about Damon as a receiver is he's the most unselfish guy on our team, and he will crack safety after safety and block his tail off for one another, and he's never a prima donna. I was a receiver. I remember running over to Mike Leach and telling him I'm open every play and I need more balls, and never once has Damon ever do that. He's a team player and wants to do everything for this team to be better. So really excited what we've done in the back end on defense. I mean, being able to add a player like Asheem Young to the mix that was at Iowa State, was able to start in this defense for Coach Capone as a freshman and a sophomore, transferred to Ole Miss, wanted to get more playing time, so was able to come here, and a guy who knows this defense in and out. And I think he'll be a guy that you'll see that'll come out and make an immediate contribution to our football program. Rod Brown on the defensive side of the ball is our nose guard, arguably our best defensive player. We have him back for his senior year. He stepped up into a leadership role like I've never seen throughout the course of this offseason. And so I think one of the great challenges that we have as coaches now is that all the things that have always mattered in a locker room and for a team, the chemistry and the relationship building, the stuff is still there. It's just you have to go about it in a different way, and some of the things seem to be a little bit expedited now because you do have so many new faces on your roster. And so that was something that we saw might be an issue this year, is we need to find a way for these guys to build relationships and do it fast. And so we've done a lot of things throughout the course of this summer, is splitting them up in different teams and letting them compete in all kinds of silly games and playing soccer and home run derbies and putt challenges and things that they can learn to compete together. And it might be, our corner that transferred from Texas and he's on a team with our new quarterback that's coming from TCU, and allow them to spend time together, because the greatest way to build relationships is for one another to give each other's time. And so we've really done a great job. Our coaches have committed to that process. Really excited about kind of understanding what this league's about. I think top to bottom, there's some great ball clubs in this league, and you look at what Memphis has been able to accomplish. You look at what Tulane's been the last couple years and the great victories that they've had. You look at what Coach Traylor's been able to do at UTSA for the last 5 or 6 years and build a dominant program down there. So super excited about our schedule. Obviously, we have 3 FBS teams that we're playing in non-conference. All 3 of those teams won their bowl game last year. And so it will be a challenging, preseason for us to be able to go to South Alabama. Super excited about that. We have Wyoming, which is one of those programs, completely opposite from us. We want to go as fast as we can, mock speed, score from far, do all these things, exciting brand of offense. And Wyoming's from the other side of the world, where they want to slow everything down and put these tight ends in and be able to pound the rock a little bit, like Coach Brewster was talking about a little bit. So, and then obviously, will be a great time and a personal experience for me to go back home to Texas Tech, a place where I grew up, a place where I played under Coach Leach there and was able to coach for 5 years after that. So all my family still lives in the Lubbock area. Super excited to go back with a green proudly on my chest and lead a football team out to battle the Red Raiders there in Lubbock. So super excited about being in this conference, about the leadership of the conference, about the leadership with Jared Mosley at our institution, continue to give us every resource that we could possibly need to perform at the highest level in this conference. And so I think we're just in the beginning stages of it, but the progression of it has been fun to be involved in that and to continue to find ways to grow and make this program better day in, day out. So I appreciate you guys' times, and we'll open it up for questions now.
All right, we'll start over there on the far right.
Hey, Coach. I'm William Goodwin with the Frisco Bowl. A lot of people around the Dallas area are following Chandler Morris just because he was an Elite 11 guy, a high school state champion, been around the block at Oklahoma and TCU. What are your expectations of him this year, especially opening up the offense for North Texas?
Yeah, I think extremely high. I just think you look at the pedigree that he comes from. I think that you look at, he's been around football his whole life. We went back and we watched, some of his great games at Highland Park, how competitive he is, and his athletic ability comes out. He's great at throwing the football on the run. And then you go back, we really studied a lot of tape from him 2 years ago when Garrett Riley was the play caller here, because it's a little bit more of what we do offensively in a progression read system. And just to watch him, have 550 yards and 4 touchdowns against Baylor and do some of those things on these big stages. I mean, I think what's in there. Obviously, I've been blessed to be around great quarterbacks in my last 12 or 13 years and a bunch of guys that are still playing right now at a high level. And I think he encompasses all those great it factors that you talk about when you see those guys out there. But the coolest thing for me is just to be able to watch him come in and his leadership skills and maturity kind of matriculate throughout the rest of our program, and to listen to him through some of these OTA style things that we're doing in the summer now with some of the access that they're giving us is how vocal he is and how committed and how confident he is in his own ability to throw the football down the field and get first downs and ultimately touchdowns. So yeah, super excited about what he's going to bring to the table, and we look forward to watching him run out the tunnel for us against South Alabama in a couple weeks.
We'll stay on that side, on the right side.
Coach Trey Smith, College Underdogs. I know your mentor, the legendary Coach Leach, one of the things I don't remember if I read it or saw him say, talking about his offensive philosophy, is that the ball always finds the playmakers. And my question is for you, with all these new faces that you were talking about you've brought in addition to Damon, who are some of the guys we can expect to see separate from the rest in terms of the ball finding them on those Saturday afternoons during games?
Yeah, I think you look at the receiver room and you bring back, Damon Ward, Blair Conright, and Landon Sides are 3 guys that have started a number of games for us here. I think watching Landon Sides the last 4 or 5 games really break out and be one of our top targets was really comforting for us, and he's had an incredible offseason. And Blair is a guy that came over from TCU a couple years ago that has meaningful reps, that played in a national championship a couple years ago. And so this is kind of his last hurrah. And we added a couple transfers, and DT Sheffield is a guy who's super dynamic, will be a slot guy, might put him in the backfield a little bit. Jeremiah Allen, we recruited from Navarro Junior College a couple years ago, went to West Virginia, and then is coming back home to us this year. And then we were able to sign a bunch of freshmen, and the reports that we've gotten back so far is a couple of these freshmen. We wanted to really add some speed to the receiver room, and so we did that according to their track times and their 40 times. And so whether that translates into football, sometimes you don't know, but the reports we've gotten back so far have been phenomenal. And then I think Oscar Hammond will be a name to really know, is a tight end that we brought in from a Division II school up in Oklahoma. And I think in all of college football, if you put Division II and Division I together, I think he would have been the second leading pass catcher yardage-wise in reception if you added the Division II people in there. So a guy that's done it. He's used to catching balls, incredible ball skills. And we'll be able to be multiple with him. I think we'll put him out flexed a little bit. We'll put him in the box and allow us to get creative with what we do at the tight end position. And then as far as the running back room, we signed a kid, Jawan Price, that's coming to us from Syracuse by the way of New Mexico State before that. And so had a great freshman year at New Mexico State, got an opportunity to go up to Syracuse. Didn't get as many carries as we'd like. He's came back. He's running the fastest times on our GPS right now. of any of our skill positions. So a guy that'll have the home run speed, and I think, with our vertical run game and trying to get the ball downhill in a hurry, I think Jawan's slated to have a really big year for us.
Next question will be over here in the back on the left.
Hey, Coach. Sonoy Valente, Mean Green Show. When it comes to recruiting, obviously the Metroplex is a hotbed, but Denton specifically also has, countless amounts of high-rated recruits that a lot of other schools come to recruit as well. What is your approach when recruiting an athlete out of Denton?
Yeah, and I think and so we know how
There's only one way to win. It doesn't have shortcuts. There are no snooze buttons, no excuses, and no days off. It's a spirit to outwork, outsmart, and outlast the competition. It demands boldness, grit, and guts. It produces courage and resilience. It says we can and we will. It's what separates us from the rest. There's only one way to greatness, and that's the American way.
College away from his current situation.
Next one will be right here in the front.
Yeah, Coach Traylor was just in here talking a little bit about his team and his season, and he talked a little bit about the importance of the North Texas UTSA rivalry, which you've been a little bit a part of. How do you see that growing, especially with SMU leaving the conference?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think any time that which I would love to play the Texas teams anytime. The fact we haven't played Rice the last couple of years, and I know they scheduled different ways doing it, but anytime we can play Texas teams and we recruit so heavily, even in Houston, like for us to have a game down in Houston and have those families to be able to come watch their loved ones play in those games, I think are super important for this state. And obviously, I think the UTSA North Texas battle is something that will continue to grow. I think Coach Traylor just done a phenomenal job of building a program to last there. And obviously, I think winning football games is your best seller when you're out recruiting on the road and being able to sell the championships that you are winning. And so I look forward to continuing to battle it out. Obviously, I'm behind. Coach Traylor got us last year, so I'm 0-1 in the rivalry. We'll work extremely hard to change that this year. And we play Army at home, and then I think we play a Friday game in the Alamo Dome, which is the same thing in Texas high school football. Obviously, those Friday nights are sacred. So going to the Alamo Dome in a big game like that, hopefully it'll move to Saturday in the future. But super excited to play in the Dome. I think it's a great advantage for them. I think they've done a great job with their fan base and continuing to grow the number of people that they're getting out to those games at the Alamo Dome.
Any last questions for Coach? All right. Thank you very much, Coach.
Thank you, guys.